Last we discussed the grit chamber. That means uh, we have studied how the grit particles like sand and inorganic particles were settled in the grit chamber. Basically, it was a sedimentation type of basin that we have seen earlier. Now we'll discuss the next treatment process in the wastewater treatment, that is, which is followed by after the grit chamber, that is the primary sedimentation tank (PST). Now this wastewater containing mainly the lightweight inorganic matter which is settled in the primary sedimentation tank. So the grit like heavy particles here we will not consider. The main focus of the treatment in this primary sedimentation tank is for settlement of the lightweight organic matter which are settled in this sedimentation tank. So some type of different settlement characteristics of this tank compared to the grit chamber is there. What is the difference? Because there are very much unknown parameters in settling of the lightweight particles, like as well as the sticky particles, which are not the regular shaped round particles. Maybe the non-regular shape we will be discussing here in settlement of this tank. So the classical laws of the sedimentation, which was applicable in the grit chamber, that is not followed here. So what is to be done? Now, actually, this primary sedimentation tank is used for the treatment of the wastewater for removing 30 to 40% of the BOD and the 50 to 70% of the suspended solids in the raw sewage. And the horizontal flow velocity average considered as 1 centimeter per second as a design parameter. And the detention time already I have discussed. What is the detention time in the grit chamber? So detention time means the time during which the tank detains the liquid. That means the flow occurs during this time to fulfill the tank. So that is the detention time. So that is considered here 90 to 150 minutes. That means 1.5 hour to 2.5 hour. So this is the design philosophy, that what is the detention time, what is the horizontal velocity is being considered for removing the suspended solid size particle above 0.1 millimeter. And the effluent wares are also provided in the effluent zone. Now, this type of tank, that is the primary sediment tank, may be in geometrical shape, the circular or the rectangle. Two types of tanks are there. Okay. Now, in case of circular tank, the collection of the hopper is located at the center. Now, in case of rectangular tank, it is in the effluent end. That I will show you in the figures how the hoppers are located in the central portion of the circular tank, and in the rectangular tank how it is located in the inlet zone. That I will show you in the photographs. And the baffle is provided ahead of the effluent ware for removal of floating matters, if any. And the scum which is formed at the surface, that is periodically maintained by mechanically or manually. So this is more or less the systems of the tanks I have described to you. But here, the analysis part, I am just entering into the analysis part. Here the particles will collapse during the sedimentation, and as the flocculation occurs, because here instead of the sedimentation I will just indicate the appropriate term, the flocculation occurs rather I would say, because here the size of the particles increases, increases as it settles faster, and the magnitude of flocculation will depend upon the opportunity for contact between the particles, which depends on the overflow rate, mean velocity gradient in the system. Now, the settlement rate does not depend on the depth, but the depth of the tank will decide the detention time. The more the detention time, the settlement characteristics will be more, settlement phenomenon will be more. So more the detention time, that is the more will be depth. Because distance equal to time into velocity, that we know. So that detention time into the settlement velocity equal to the distance, that is the vertical distance, that is the vertical depth of the water. So the depth will decide liquid detention time in the tank, and sufficient depth should be provided for settling to separate it from the sludge settled zone. So this is the theory part I have just told you regarding that detention time and the how it is related with the depth of the water with the detention time. Now, as I have told you that the shape of the particle is not the round shape, it is in irregular shape, lightweight particles. So exact the law which we have followed in case of the grid chamber may not be followed here. So here what we are using, the settling column is used to determine the settling characteristics of the suspended droplet matter. So here we will use a different concept, that is the settling column, and I will show you a problem. Then this concept of the column will be much more clear if we demonstrate one numerical sum on this column. And generally, the study of the settling column, which are being considered in this particular type of design of the primary sedimentation tank, that is the PST, that column diameter is basically the 15 centimeter and the height of the column is 3 meter. Okay, and that we experimentally found that it gives the satisfactory results, and along the depth of the water 5 to 6 ports are provided for studying purpose, that means for sampling purpose. That means through these ports we are taking the sampling for study. So that port intervals is 5 to 6 ports are provided along the depth. And the height of the tank should be ideally equal to side water depth of the settling tank for proper results that we will discuss in the problem. So the solution containing suspended solids should be added in the column in such a way that uniform distribution of solid particles occur from top to bottom, and settling should take place under quiescent conditions. It is important to maintain uniform temperature throughout the experiment, that is obvious. So what we will see? We will see the percentage removal of solids for each sample analyzed, and it will be plotted as a percentage against time. That graph I will show you in one problem how it is been plotted, and the curve of equal percentage removal is drawn between the plotted points. That column study I will definitely show you, but the efficiency of the tank, that is the removal efficiency, whether it is a suspended solid or BOD removal efficiency, depends on what? What are the factors on which the removal efficiency of the sedimentation tank depends? That we must discuss. Now, number one is the eddy current forms by the inertia of incoming fluids. When the fluids comes into the primary sedimentary tank, that eddy currents have an influence on the efficiency of the removal of that suspended solid as well as the BOD from the PST. Wind-induced turbulence, that means aeration, wind-induced turbulence created at the water surface of the uncovered tanks, that is also an important parameter in deciding the efficiency. Thermal convection currents, cold or warm water causing the formation of density currents that moves among the bottom of the basin. And finally, the thermal stratification in hot climates. So, one example, and another thing I am going to tell you that since the optimum conditions encountered in the field due to continuously wastewater coming in and going out of the sedimentation tank, and due to ripples formed on the surface of the water because of wind action, the settling velocity vis-a-vis which we call the overflow rate, that is Q by VL, obtained from the column study are often multiplied by 0.65, 0.105 with the fraction, and the detention time multiplied by 1.25 to 1.5. Because of that, ripples formed at the surface of the tank. This will give adequate treatment efficiency in the field conditions to obtain as obtained in the laboratory test. So this is the thing. Now let me solve one example, one numerical problem. Then it will be very clear how the column study, laboratory column study is being taken place in settlement characteristics of the wastewater. One example I am just citing you, that is a settling test was performed in settling column of height is 2.5 meter, it is given. Now 4 number ports at 0.5 meter interval from the bottom, it is given. Samples were collected from the ports at every 30 minutes, that is also given. And the results, what the samples results was obtained, that was plotted in the figure that I am going to show you. And overall, determine the overall removal of solids after 1 hour of settling. Fine. This is the curve. We have obtained results from the laboratory tests. These curve results have been given. Now I have to find out after 1 hour what will be the overall removal of solids after 1 hour of settling. That means after 1 hour of settling, what is the removal of what is the total removal of the solids, overall removal of the solids. Now see, the curve y-axis is the height of the column, which is 2.5 meter is given, that is the water height. So 0.5 interval, so there are 5 slots, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and the 4 ports are there at 0.5 meter interval, first port from bottom, then second, then third, then fourth, which is shown clearly the horizontal line. If you see the right side column bar we have drawn, and there the horizontal line is shown from the bottom, one typical dimension, it is shown that 0.5 meter. So what is the x-axis? This is the time of sampling. So as I have to consider the as I have to find out the total settlement, total removal, overall removal after 1 hour. So the x-axis, the 1 hour, that means corresponding to the 60 minutes, I will just draw a vertical line. I will just simply draw a vertical line ordinate corresponding to 60 minutes, because I have to find out the removal after 60 minutes. So this vertical line will cut the curve which is plotted at some suitable points, and that connecting points from top you can designate as delta H1, delta H2, delta H3, delta H4. What does it mean? Because if you see the curve which shows the removal efficiency between 100% to 80%, so it has cut in the vertical line at delta H1 point. Then between 80% to 70%, you could see the removal efficiency, that is the delta H2 was intercepting point. Then between 70% to 90%, 60%, the connecting points are delta H3. And the last one, between 60% to 50%, the connecting points is delta H4. So what is the percentage removal? Percentage removal is delta H1 by delta H1 by H5. H5 is the total height, that is the 2.5 meter here, into R1 plus R2 divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Because the average you are taking of the removal efficiency. Say for first case, delta H1, if you see from top, that is between R1 plus R2 divided by 2. So R1 means 100, R2 means 80. So delta H1 is from the graph it is seen that so if the point out of 0.5 it intersects at 0.34. So delta H1 from scale you have found out that it is 0.34. So delta H1 is 0.34. R1 plus R2 means the top line, horizontal line is 100%. and bottom curve is 80%, so you take 100 plus 80 average by 2 and divided by 2.5, H5 is 2.5 because the total height is 2.5. Similarly, for H delta H2, you see the delta H2 is, if it is delta H1 is 0.34, so balance H2 is 0.5 minus 0.34, that means that is 0.16. So delta H2 is 0.16. Again, R2 plus R3, you see the removal efficiency, it is between 80 to 70. So take the average between 80% and 70%. So 80 plus 70, it has been taken. Now go to the case of delta H3. What is delta H3? Delta H3 is, if you see, more than 0.5. So 0.5 plus 0.16, so 0.66 you have taken. It has been found out 0.66. That means in that one slot 0.5 and another slot it was covered 0.16. So 0.66 into it covers 70 and 60. So you have to take the average between 70 and 60. And the last one is delta H4. What is this? This is 1.34 because you see the bottom two 0.5, 0.51, and then the balance 0.5 slot you have already taken 0.16, so balance is 0.34. So total is 1.34 is the H4. And it covers R4, R5 is 60 and 50. You see, 60 and 50 is the curved line percentage given. So you have to take the average of these two. So the total removal, just add on the things. That means 12.24 plus 4.8 plus 17.16 plus 29.48. If you add these things, then the total total removal under this quiescent condition is 63.68%. Now again, I have told you in the theory portion that the detention period can be multiplied by the factor 1.5. So here 1 hour means you can take it as 1 into 1.5, that is 1.5 hour, which is recommended for settling. That is the removal, the detention time recommended is 1.5 hours. So that is the answer from column study, which you have got the result, how to calculate the total removal under quiescent settling condition. So that a numerical example has been explained to you in detail. Now I am entering how to design the primary sedimentation tank. Now primary sedimentation tank, both the circular and the rectangular, there are the two possible geometric shapes that I will show you the figure. Basically, it is designed using the average dry under weather flow, but checked at peak flow condition whether the design is safe at the maximum peak flow, that is in the monsoon time. But generally it is designed using the average dry weather flow and it is checked at peak flow condition. Now the number of tanks are determined by the limitation of the tank size. Two tanks generally are parallelly placed for facilitate maintenance of the tank, because if the one tank is maintenance, so I can't make the shutdown of the treatment plant, so other tank can process for that. So at least parallel one standby tank for maintenance purpose has to be there. Now in case of the circular tank, if you consider, then the diameter generally are considered 3 to 60 meter. Typical generally 45 meter diameter is being considered. And some structural requirement of trusses for supporting the scrappers. In case of the mechanically clean, that has been provided. And in case of the rectangular tank, the maximum length is 90 meter in use, but usually it should not be more than 40 meter. It is preferred. Generally, the length of the rectangular sedimentation tank should not be more than 40 meter. And how would you decide the width of the tank? It depends on the size of the scraper for mechanical cleaning of that tank. Now, the depth of the mechanical clean tank should be shallow as possible with minimum 2.15 meter. But average depth of the tank used in the practice is 3.5 meter. And in addition, you have to consider the sludge, that is the bottom. The sludge depth is 0.25 meter in sludge zone, and the freeboard 0.3 to 0.5 meter you have to add on to get the total depth of the tank. And slope of the tank is 6 to 16% in case of circular, and in case of rectangular it is 2 to 8%. Mainly the scrapers are attached to the rotating arms in case of circular for cleaning for scraping all the sludge into the bottom portion. That is, the hopper is placed at bottom. But in case of rectangular, these scrapers are attached to the endless chain in case of rectangular tank that I will show in the figure. Now these scrapers collect the solids or sludge in the central sum in case of the circular, and in case of the rectangular it is collected at the sludge hoppers at the influent end, that I will also show in the figure. And from the sump, the time to time at a fixed interval the solids have been removed. The scraper velocity 0.6 to 2, that will not be required in this design operation, just to give you an idea. Now, the inlets for both the rectangular and circular are designed to distribute the flow of equally across the cross section. It has to be kept in mind that flow should be equally on the cross section. And scum removal arrangement is provided ahead of the effluent wear. So that is being taken care. The arrangement has to be provided of the effluent air, effluent wear in the primary sedimentation tank. The very important aspect I am going to tell, which will be very much helpful in designing the surface overflow rating rate. What is the surface overflow rating rate? Surface overflow rating rate means Q by BL. That means the horizontal area, if the B is the dimension of the width and the L is the rectangular of the size. In case of the rectangular tank, then the surface overflow rate is Q by BL. That means the meter cube by meter square per day. That is very, very important for the finding out the settlement velocity. That is the surface overflow rate. It is in the generally it is in the range. It is considered as 40 meter cube per meter square per day in the design of the average flow. At peak flow, the surface overflow rate, I am considering that 40 meter cube per meter square per day. Kindly keep this value in your memory. It will be helpful for you to design the tank. That is considered for average flow, that surface overflow rate. But in peak flow, the surface overflow rate considered 80 to 120 meter cube per meter square per day. That means when you will go for checking your PST, that means primary sedimentation tank overflow rate against the peak flow, then you must check whether it should not exceed 120 meter cube per meter square per day or not. This is the significance of these things that I am going to tell. Now, the surface overflow rate, as I have told you, generally 40 meter cube per meter square per day. Now, this is very important that I am going to tell. Now, to avoid the scouring, again and again I am telling this effect, the critical velocity has to be checked so that the velocity should not exceed the scouring velocity. That means to avoid the resuspension in the tank of the settled particles, the horizontal velocity through PST should be kept sufficiently low. So it should not be. So we have to calculate the VC, V suffix C, that is the critical velocity, which is the horizontal velocity. So which is just produce the scour. Actually, what I am trying to say that this is the limiting velocity. It should not be exceeded to avoid the scouring. So what is the formula? 8 beta by F G S minus 1 into D. That Darcy-Weisbach friction factor F, that was also discussed earlier also. Beta is constant, S is specific gravity, D is the diameter of the particle. Now, coming to the point of the picture, if you see this is the horizontal, the top is the rectangular tank cross section and the bottom is the circular tank cross section. So again I am telling the top is the rectangular tank cross section and bottom is the circular tank cross section. Now it is very important to discuss that you see the scrapers are attached with the chain system. In case of rectangular, what do we see? And the scrapers are for moving solids, mechanically driving motor is there. Now here in case of the circular, if you see the scrapers are attached with the truss system. So here it is a truss structural system and there is a chain system. And here in the bottom portion the sump is there in the circular clarifoculator, and in case of the rectangular one you see the inlet zone. Here the inlet zone, the sludge is placed in the sludge hopper. And effluent where before the effluent has been placed, that has been stored, baffle is there, before the effluent where is there, baffle is there. So all these things I am giving you some idea. You see the mechanical cleaning operation with the scraper attached with the chain system as well as the truss system into different type of cross section design I have shown you. Now let me discuss the problem which will be very much give you the clear conception of the primary sedimentation tank. Once I will explain this problem, then the design consideration of this primary sedimentation tank will be very clear. So this is the problem I am going to discuss regarding the design of the PST. Design the primary sedimentation tank to treat wastewater with average flow rate of 10 mld and the peak flow of 22.5 mld. So two flows are given in the question. One is the average flow rate and the peak flow rate. So it will be designed on average flow rate and will be checked on the peak flow rate whether this is the normal circumstances we do. So again the very important parameter I have already discussed, that is the settling rate, overflow rate, that is the surface loading rate. All these terminologies are synonymous in the case of the sedimentation tank. That surface loading rate, surface settling rate, overflow loading rate are same. What actual the typical value we are considering in case of the rectangular tank? Now 40 meter cube per meter square per day, and this parameter is very important to consider it in the design, because if you know this parameter, that is the settling rate, if you know that is 40 meter cube per meter square per day, and it is given that 10,000 meter cube per meter square per day. 10,000 meter cube, why? Because 10 million liter per day means 10 to the power 10 into 10 to the power 6 and further divided by 10 to the power 3, converting to meter cube per day. So 10 to the power 10 into 10 to the power 3 meter cube per day, that means 10 to the power 4 meter cube per day, rather I would say. If you divide the 10 to the power 4 meter cube per day by the surface loading rate, that is the assumption which is being considered in the design of the rectangular tank, that is 40 meter cube per meter square per day, what we will get? If you divide meter cube by meter cube per meter square, so we will get the result in meter square, that is the plan area. Plan area means the horizontal surface area. The surface area of the tank, that is L into B, you will get, which is obtained as 250 meter square. So what we have learned, if the flow rate is given, that is the average flow rate, I mean to say the design is always done with the average flow rate. If the average flow rate is given, assuming the surface settling rate, we can have an idea, you can decide the surface area of the tank. Now with this surface area, let us check the peak flow settlement area, that is the overflow rate at peak condition. That I have told you, it has to be between 80 to 120, that has to be checked. Now the maximum peak flow is 22.5 million liter per day. That means 22.5 into 10 to the 3 meter cube per day. You divide by 250. So what is the peak flow condition? The surface overflow loading rate, it is 90 meter cube. So still it is 120 meter cube per meter square per day. So 120 meter cube, it is less than 120 meter cube per meter square per day. So this is okay. I have checked. So this is the basic thing that you have to design on the flow of average, but you have to check with the peak flow condition. This is basic consideration in the design of the PST, primary sedimentation tank. So now you assume the depth of the width 6 meter, and therefore the theoretical length is 41.6 meter. Generally, it should not be more than 40 meter. So hence, since it is greater than 40 meter, you divide these two tank into parallel, because general conception is that generally for maintenance purpose you have to maintain the two parallel tank. So each tank length become 41.66 divided by 2, and inlet you first at 2 meter and outlet you first at 2 meter. So adding inlet and outlet 2 plus 2 4 meter. So what will be the length of the each tank? That is 24.85 meter if you give the round figure. Now a very good conception I am going to tell you, that flow rate into detention time, that is the volume, because flow rate is nothing but the meter cube per time and into time, so give you the meter cube in volume. That means what is detention time? It is the time required to fill the tank. That means it will give the total volume of the tank. That is one thing. Again, if you think that depth into surface area, that is also the volume, because the geometrical shape is surface area into depth. Three sides multiply will give you the volume. So what is the flow rate into detention time? That is nothing but the depth into surface area, because these all are equating to the volume of the tank. So flow by surface area, we say that from this equation we can get flow by surface area equal to depth by detention time. A very fundamental equation I am getting. Flow by surface area equal to depth by detention time. This is nothing but the surface settling depth, that is settling velocity. Again I am telling flow by surface area, because surface area means it's a surface, it is settling perpendicular to the settling velocity. So when we will divide the flow by plan area, so definitely I will get the vertical velocity, that is the settling velocity, and which is nothing but the distance divided by time, which is distance means depth divided by time. So what is the flow by surface area? Is same as the depth by detention time, which is nothing but the settling velocity. Fine. Now you consider the detention time is 1.5 hours. So therefore the liquid depth, what will be the liquid depth? Now liquid depth is from that equation, what we will get, the liquid depth is detention time into that is the 1.5 is the detention time, and what is the in terms of day, the detention time is 1.5 divided by 24, and detention time into the what is 40? 40 is the length. I mean the 40 means the what is 40? 40 into 1.5 divided by 24. Now you see the liquid depth is nothing but the surface settling rate into detention time. Now surface settling rate is 40. So 40 into detention time is the that assumption you have already taken very beginning. You have taken the surface loading rate, surface settling rate, that is the 40, isn't it? So the 40, when you consider the 40 surface settling rate, that means in the equation you know the surface settling rate. Just you multiply with the detention time, you will get the depth. So that's why the depth of the liquid is 40 into 1.5 divided by 24. Why 1.5 divided by 24? Because 1.5 is in day and you 1.5 is in hour. When you convert it in day, 1.5 divided by 24 is the detention time. And if you multiply the detention time with the surface settling rate 40, you will get the depth of water is 2.5 meter. So the flow velocity, what will be the flow velocity? Velocity is nothing but Q by A. What is Q by A? Q is 10 million liter per day. If you consider that is 0.116 meter per second. And what is A? A is 2 number tanks. So 2, what is A? A means the vertical cross-sectional area you have to take, because you are going to find out the horizontal velocity. So when you are going to find out the horizontal velocity, then you have to take the perpendicular to the plane of the horizontal velocity. That means B into H. And what is B? B is 6 meter. And what is H? H is 2.5 meter. Just now we have found out. So since there are 2 number tanks, So total area is 2 into 6 into 2.5 meters. That is the vertical plan area where the horizontal velocity is stuck off. So the horizontal velocity, for finding the horizontal velocity, we have to divide the q divided by the vertical plane area, that is 6 by 2.5, and 2 means twice the tank. So ultimately we will get 0.0087 meter per second. And this horizontal velocity should be checked for non-scoring velocity, whether it is less than 0.06 meter per second. Why 0.06? Because VC we have calculated by the formula is 0.06 meter per second. So let us check that total depth is 2.5 meter. What is the total depth? Total depth is, water depth is 2.5 meter plus 0.5 meter freeboard plus 0.25 meter, that is the bottom space for sludge. So ultimately 3.25 meter depth of the depth of the tank you have to maintain. Fine. What is the wear loading rate? Now considering that 185 is the maximum loading rate, wear loading rate. So just backward calculation, you know the flow and you know the maximum overloading rate. So if you divide the flow by maximum overloading rate, then the length of the wear will be found out as 54 meter. Hence, provide about 20. Now this is the total wear length. Now we divide in two tank, that is 27 of the wear length of each tank. So these can be provided by two effluent collection channels across the width at outlet end, offering total 24 meter and side wear of about 1.55 meter on each side. So this is the thing I have described you, the how to design the sedimentation tank, primary sedimentation tank, and I have given you the application of the surface overflow rating rate, or as well as settlement rate, as well as I mean to say the what I mean to say this is the surface settlement rate, that is flow by surface area, that has been described. So when I am going to find out the velocity, so where the for the settlement part, that is the vertical velocity, the horizontal plan area, that is the surface area, has been taken while calculating the horizontal velocity. Then the vertical plan area we have taken. So this is the concept how to design the primary sedimentation tank. So next I will talk about the secondary sedimentation tank in my 20th lecture. So I will close it today. I will I will upload very soon this lecture which we have described about the primary sedimentation tank, that is the primary treatment process, in the Google Classroom. Students are requested to go through my lectures in the Google Classroom, and thereafter we will be discussing in the live classroom one-to-one interaction for any further qualification, any further queries which may be clarified on over the live classroom. So have a good day. Thank you all.